Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting, this regular meeting of the Wayne Westland Community Schools Board of Education. It's Monday, November 22nd, 2021, and I'd like to bring this meeting to order on behalf of the Board of Education. I'd like to thank you for attending tonight's meeting. To participate in the meeting during the citizens' comments portion of the agenda, you will be asked to fill out a blue form like this. They're available in the front when you come in. You'll be given 3 minutes. At the beginning of the agenda, you have the opportunity to address the board on any issue that appears on the agenda. And at the end of the agenda, you have the opportunity to address the board on any issue at all. So with that, we're going to begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Carrie Moon and Kylie Moon of P.D. Graham Elementary School. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, if you just stay up here for a moment, Secretary Mark Neal would like to talk a little bit about you to everybody in the room. Come on up here and turn around so that the camera can see you.
All right, first, who is Carrie? Where's Carrie?
Who's Carrie? Raise your hand, Carrie.
All right. Carrie is a second grader in Mrs. Burrow's class at P.D. Graham Elementary. Her favorite subject at school is math. In her free time, she likes playing with her fidgets. When Carrie grows up, she would like to be a movie star or an artist. All right. And Kylie. Yes, Kylie is a third grader in Mrs. Gutt's class, or Goot, at P.D. Graham. Media class is the subject she enjoys the most at school. She also enjoys drawing and reading. When Kylie grows up, she would like to be a boxing champion. Wow, she is starting kickboxing lessons.
And right now, Mr. Albrecht would like to give you an award in recognition of your being at the board meeting tonight.
Carrie, right? Guess what? I was a math teacher. I like math too. Whoa. I want to thank you for both for coming here tonight. Did you come here by yourself?
No.
Would somebody special bring you? Who would that be?
My mom.
Hi, Mom.
Did you bring anybody else special with you? Who's that?
My sister.
And who else is here that came with you? Who's that over there? What's her name?
Miss Pringle.
Miss Pringle. All right. So, Carrie, for participation in the flag ceremony during a regular meeting of our Board of Education, Wayne Westland Community Schools gives you this award of recognition. And to you, Kylie, the same for you. Thank you.
Mom, we'd like to get their pictures up here. Would you like to be in the picture with them?
Miss Robert, you want to stand right in front of the TV and if you put them on either side? Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. And then can you ladies turn your certificates around so we can see them? Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda this evening, 162.22, is roll call attendance. Mr. Neal, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Buckaloo,
Present.
Mrs. May,
Present.
Dr. Weaver,
Here.
myself, I'm present, Mr. Albrecht,
Present.
Ms. Hines,
Present.
President Cox.
And I'm present. Thank you, Mr.
All
Neal.
present.
163.22 is recognitions and presentations. Mr. Dignan, or Dr. Dignan?
Thank you, President Cox, board members, community. What we'd like to do is every board meeting, we're giving a snapshot at each of our high schools. I'd like to start off with William D. Ford Career Tech Center and ask Cree Williams and Haley Vaughn to come up to the microphone and talk about what's happening at the Career Tech Center. That was for the meal today. They, before our board meeting today, they created a meal, so they're probably cleaning up from it now, so they're not gonna be here. So I'm gonna move on to community high school representatives, Cheyenne Gaines and Victoria Deno. If they could come up to the mic and let us know what's happening at Wayne Westland Community High School.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne Gaines, and I'm a senior at CHS. Tonight I'm going to tell you all a few things that make us different and stand out from different schools. First thing I'm going to get into is our Seo Room. Our Seo Room is a social emotional learning space. Seo Room is a comfort space that has dim lights, comfortable couches, and you get to just let out any emotions without being judged. And you know, you just get to let out all type of emotions. You just get to feel better. You get to feel like you're in comfort. Yes, a safe room. Next thing I want to get into, which is my favorite, is our Restorative Circle. A Restorative Circle is to repair broken relationships and I'm sorry. Our Restorative Circle is to repair broken relationships and to repair broken bonds, to get a better understanding of situations. But our Restorative Circle is not only just for students, it's for staff members too. So if, you and your teacher, you guys not having a better understanding with situations, you guys can have a Restorative Circle, the principal, Ms. Milstead, can put it together and, talk everything out so we can get a better understanding of situations so it won't be no problem. Same with students. We are now in the process of getting students trained to be able to run Restorative Circles. A staff member will be assigned there, but it will be ran by a student because a lot of students understand students. Sometimes a staff member can't necessarily understand where a student is coming from. So if it's ran by a student can just be like, hey, I understand where he or she is coming from. It's important because, we like a team. So it's like, when we do stuff like this, it's helping our school out. It's making a lot of things easier for us. It's making things better for us. It's making people have better relationships, better bonds. When you come there, you build different type of relationships, good relationships, not bad relationships. Everything is great there. Y'all, I love that school. Our school is a no judgment zone. It's absolutely no judgment. We do no judgment in our school at all. We understand that everyone makes mistakes and work hard, so we working hard to make things right. And I just want to say thank you guys for having me here tonight.
Great job. Thank you, Cheyenne. That was a great job. I'd like to call up our student representatives from John Glenn High School representing our DECA program, Kaya Tulu, Tina Vu, and Christina Fuller. And if you guys could explain what DECA is too, that'd be great.
Our pleasure. So, first of all, thank you for this opportunity for us to kind of add some exposure to the organization at John Glenn and school-wide. Although there are many school-based programs and organizations such as DECA, I truly believe that it stands out as an outlier and a unique experience you can give to students. I say this due to the fact that we really teach our students business etiquette and real-world skills. We teach them how to converse with people, have that small talk, and have that great socialization aspect of everything. And with that, it kind of teaches them how to, most importantly, present themselves. So whether you go to a job interview or a scholarship interview, you're able to present what value will you add to whatever you're interviewing for, and to really express your assets and skills. And so through DECA, we have levels of competition, which Christina Fuller will explain all of that and about the community service aspects.
Thank you everyone for inviting us today. It's been a pleasure to be with you. So just to recap, DECA helps prepare emerging leaders and aspiring change makers within our society and beyond. Our DECA chapter has been actively and highly involved in community service from the very beginning as our way to support and give back to our local communities and to leave the world a better place than it was. We have collaborated with the FDDR Feeding Detroit organization by bagging lunches to feed the homeless, hosting Miracle Minutes to raise funds for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and have even adopted a family to help them celebrate a wonderful and memorable holiday. This is only the beginning. Our tireless commitment to community service will only continue to grow as we work on upcoming service projects, like our most recent partnership with the Norway tree lighting ceremony by collecting and donating crayons, coloring books, and having DECA members serve as baristas. Okay. It is our chapter and our members' acts of service that demonstrates how we embody the characteristics of emerging leaders that serve and strive for a better tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Christina Fuller. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at our DECA chapter at John Glenn. And I just want to talk about a little bit about the competitions and also like about DECA, because DECA is really about like the experience as a whole. It's not just about like the competition aspect. But as far as competitions, we do have districts, which is at Eastern Michigan University, and there we just get to talk to a lot of students that are all around our region that are like interested in DECA as well in business, and we just get to network with them. And then we also have our state competition is what a lot of people look forward to, and that's at the Renaissance Center in downtown Detroit, and there we get to talk to and like network with all the kids in DECA that are like in the entire state, and that's a lot of fun. And like personally, I remember we just got to like walk around downtown Detroit, went to Greektown, we rode the People Mover, we just did like a lot of things, and it was just a lot of fun. Like I'm really happy that I joined DECA. But we also got to do like other outings. Like about 2 weeks ago, we did get to go to the Red Wings game, and we got to talk to the Red Wings marketing team and kind of get like a feel for like sports entertainment, business fields. So that was actually really cool. And we also have things like the State Leadership Conference and the Central Region Leadership Conference, which are all other workshops that we can do. So DECA is really just about like networking with other kids and getting you like exposed to the business field. And it's just a really good opportunity that John Glenn has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for sharing that. Last up, we're going to have Wayne Memorial High School representatives, Maria Rodriguez and Marianne Sino, to come up to the microphone. Okay.
We had a slides prepared. I don't know if we could put
What's
that
that?
up there. We had a slides prepared. A slideshow.
You do? Did you share it with our communications director?
Okay. I'm gonna talk about our most recent events. Thank you. I'm gonna talk about our most recent events, which were the blood drive, our Frankenmuth trip for new upcoming leadership children, and then our creepy crawl, and our upcoming event, the elementary Christmas.
Do you want her to click it?
Yeah, click it again, please. We had a blood drive around a month ago. It had a wonderful turnout. Not only members from our school participated in giving out and donating blood, but members of community and even construction workers working at our school. Click, please. For flyers and stuff. We had a Frankenmuth trip as well. They spent, I think, around two days and one night. They participated in leadership activities. They went out and bonded, went out shopping, went to a leadership conference, played leadership games, bonded with other students from other schools to work on growing as a group and the reason for the trip was to sort of kind of enlighten kids to join Senate. It's a very important group, especially for our school. We do so much for our school, and we just wish that more kids would join, so we thought that this would be a great opportunity to have that happen. We had a Halloween Spirit Week. It was wonderful. I was there most of the time. Sally had to get out for personal reasons, but other than that, it was great. It was just, having Spirit Weeks is just something that just lightens up the whole mood at school, especially with like how things have been going on, how things have, or seem to be leading to. It just seems like such a good way to just chill down, cool down, even at school, students, you know, working. It's just a nice thing to get down and relax too. A few pictures. Our WMHS Kirby Crawl happened also as well, and it was a great turnout. It was mostly to raise money for a local St. Mary's Pantry. It was really great. We had concessions giving out, and you either paid $2 per person or you turned in 2 perishable goods. And it was wonderful. It was great. A lot of kids showed up. It was really nice. Upcoming events, we have our elementary Christmas, which we're getting ready to prepare for. And this year we're having our elementary Christmas at Taft from kindergarten to 3rd grade. Happily, I'm working with the kindergartners, making some arts and crafts. But other than that, yeah, we have, that's the most recent things we have going on, so.
Great job, Maria.
I'd like to congratulate all of the students on their courage to come up tonight and talk. And I'd also like to ask them, will you all come to the front of the room, please, and allow us to take a photograph of you? And also, we have some awards that we'd like to share with you. Could you come up and just stand right along here so we can get your picture? Cheyenne, can you hear me out there? Victoria? Maybe they decided not to have a picture taken.
Cheyenne and Victoria, the ladies from Baby High, are they still out there? I see. Stay, but stop. Thank you.
Yes, you did. Hey, guys, you did a phenomenal job.
Did a great job. Thank you very much for coming.
We have them from Community High.
Jenny, get the
They're
pic.
coming back in.
Are they coming?
Yes. Yep. Thank you, Jenny.
I thought you escaped.
Yeah, she thought she did too.
You weren't fast enough.
Yeah. Great job.
Just like to say again, what a great job you all did. Thank you so much.
Y'all want to hold yours?
Thanks, Jenny.
Great job, son.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Keep up the good work, okay? Yeah, you too.
Mr. Diggin?
Yeah, next I'd like to call up Mrs. Cleaves with the audit presentation from Plant Moran.
Hi, yes, I'd like to turn it over to Jamie Essemacher from Plant Moran.
I'm sure that this is going to be as riveting as and exciting as the cute little kids doing the Pledge of Allegiance and the speaking. So
Thank you, Jamie. We're looking forward to what you have to say, too.
I can feel the excitement. Hi, everybody. I think most of you know me, but for those of you that don't, my name is Jamie Essemacher. I'm the lead partner on the audit. I'm here to present the audit results from June 30th, 2021. So I'm going to start with a few key highlights and then move into some financial statement highlights that are focused primarily on the general fund, which is the primary operating fund of the district. So in starting with some key highlights, Well, I guess overall in our deliverable package, we did include 4 documents that are part of the audit process, which is the audited financial statements, the federal compliance audit, which means that the district has expended more than $750,000 in federal funds, and so we're required to have an audit, as well as the required post-audit communication with the board. The presentation that I'm about to present to you kind of highlights all of those into one, but if you do have any questions on the individual documents, as always, I'm happy to answer those as well. So we are here today presenting an unmodified, clean opinion on the audit. It is the highest level of an opinion that Plant Moran can provide. It is what you hire us to do. The audit was performed using a hybrid of remote and on-site model. In terms of the federal compliance audit, we did look at 3 programs this year due to the significance of the federal funding for the district, which included Head Start, the Coronavirus Relief Funds, and the ESSER grants. We are happy to report that there was an unmodified opinion on the programs tested, and there were no findings to report. We also take a pretty deep dive into the bond funds and the sinking fund. There are various compliance requirements that are required to test under. So sections 1351A and sections 1212. So we do quite a bit of sampling as it relates to the bond fund as well as the sinking fund expenditures for the current year. Also happy to report that there were no compliance findings identified within those funds. In turning to the next slide, as I had mentioned, Plant Moran has issued an unmodified clean opinion on the audited financial statements. The financial statements are the responsibility of management, and Chanda and her team do a great job of taking responsibility for that, as well as Kim. So we appreciate all their hard work throughout the process. We know it's no small feat, especially with 3 programs being tested in the current year. We are responsible for rendering an opinion on the audited financial statements, and the audit was completed in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards in the United States of America. In starting with the financial information, we are taking a look at the general fund, starting with the assets. The total assets of the district were $48.1 million at June 30th, 2021. So 61%, or $29.4 million, relates to your cash and investments of the general fund. $18.6 million, or 39%, relates to your receivables, which primarily consist of your July and August state aid, as well as your property tax receivable. In moving over to the right side of the the right side of the slide, total liabilities were $20.1 million and consisted of your accounts payable, due to other funds, and accrued payroll. As you can see, the accrued payroll is the largest liability and is $12 million, or 55% at year end. This is primarily driven by your teachers that are on 26 pays and that are accrued for at June 30 related to their salaries, benefits, and retirement. In moving over to the income statement, looking at the general fund revenue and other financing sources. As you can see, from 20 to 21, the revenue increased approximately $7.4 million, or 7%. This is comprised of your local revenue, which is primarily made up of your property taxes of $16.4 million, and then your voc ed funds, which is about $1 million. The state aid represents the money that you receive from Michigan, and the federal piece represents your federal dollars allocated to the general fund, which is primarily consisted of your Medicaid amounts. And then your interdistrict sources relate to your Act 18 and your enhancement millage money. Transfers and other financing sources. The district did sell some buses this year related to this, so the proceeds of that is recorded in approximately $66,000. And as you can see, most of the balances are consistent with prior year, with the exception of the state sources. So this will kind of be explained throughout the next few slides, but as you're all aware, with all the CARES Act money and different money flowing through this year and the current year, we are seeing some pretty increases in the general fund, but the most significant increases for Wayne Westland include an increase in your 51C money as well as your 147C money from the state related to your retirement benefits. In moving down the income statement to your general fund expenditures, total expenditures in the general fund were around $111 million. Expenses increased about $5 million, or 5.5%, and really a lot of that relates to that UAAL money that's essentially a pass-through for the general fund. So you receive it from the state aid, and then you expense it out through your retirement salaries and wages. As you can also see, the overall percentage of the allocations remain relatively consistent. We then further break this graph out into expenditures by what we call function code. which is your instruction, support, athletics, community service, transfers, and capital outlay. As you can see, the most significant expense categories are your instruction and your support. Transfers to other funds also increased this year to approximately $3 million, and really that is a result of your timing and your money flowing to and from your grant fund as well as your special ed fund. In turning to the next slide, this slide really, no, I didn't repeat myself. It's just a different way to show the same information. This slide takes a look at the district's expenditures, but takes a look at it from a different angle. It breaks them out by salaries and fringe benefits as well as supplies and others. So really what we like to demonstrate here is that a significant portion of the district's expenses, approximately 89% in both 20 and 21, as well as if I were to go back to 19 and 18, would be consistent, are comprised of that salary and benefit expense. This would be consistent with what we see in other districts. So typically in most districts, we expect to see that salaries and fringe benefits equate to 85% or greater. Next, we move down to the fund balance. So this slide takes a look at the fund balance over the past 5 years. It has continued to increase or remain stable. The district ended the year with a fund balance of $26.4 million, so an increase of $2.1 million. We've seen an increase in fund balance on most districts across the state. This is primarily being driven by less overhead and in-person operations. Still, as most districts, as you're aware, are still in some form of hybrid learning, and an increase in overall funds due to CARES Act money and the shifting of allocations, which is one-time additional funds that the district has received through the CARES Act money and will be need to spend over a designated period of time. The next slide takes a look at the general fund balance as a percentage of the district's expenditures and compares it to the state average. So the graph in the table at the bottom of the slide shows your general fund balance as a percentage of your expenditures for fiscal years 2017 through 2021 as compared to the statewide average. The blue bars represent Wayne Westland and the red bars represent the state average, excluding the Detroit Public Schools. When we break apart this for Wayne Westland, we take the total fund balance and divide it by the general fund's total expenditures. The district is at 24.6%, which is higher than the state average of 15.9%. Again, when looking at this slide, I think it's important to remember that there has been a significant amount of one-time money allocated to the district that is still working on being spent over the next few years. And without those amounts, we would expect to see that these percentages would be more along the lines around the 2019 amounts. We also expect the statewide average in 2021 to increase because of all the additional funding districts are receiving. And then the last slide that I just wanted to focus on for a moment helps capture the challenges that the district has faced related to funding and taking a look at the historical per-pupil foundation allowance. The per-pupil foundation allowance is determined in Lansing within the state and is part of the State Aid Act that was adopted many years ago. The foundation allowance represents approximately 80% of the district's general fund revenue at Wayne Westland. As you can see, over the past few years, it has trended in the upward direction, for the most part there. The school district's foundation allowance remained at the fiscal levels of the 1920 year for the current year, with a minimum set at $8,111 per pupil. So I did like to show here for 21-22 that the state has set a target for $8,700 per pupil. And so that is essentially what, the budget is being based off of, and what, again, that's a target that's not set in stone, but that is kind of what they are expecting for the current year. I know I went through that kind of fast, but I know you have a full agenda, so I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions from members of the board?
Just one question.
Melody?
Why do they exclude the Detroit Public Schools? Is it because it's such a large district?
Correct.
Okay.
Other questions? Comment? Mr. Buckaloo?
So, this is really good news. I think you said something like a budget of $111 million, which is considerably more than what I make in retirement. It's a huge chunk of change, $111 million, and we have to account for every penny of that. There are three words that Ms. Eismaker used today that bear some repeating. One is that it was a clean audit. Second is that it was an unmodified audit. And third, there were no findings, which means they didn't find any fault with anything that our finance department had done in the areas that they looked at. And so we couldn't be more pleased, and you as taxpayers, as homeowners, should be equally pleased that the school district is doing the careful job of monitoring the money that you've entrusted to us, and that we're using it in an appropriate way, and that we're accounting for it penny for penny. We're in good shape. We have a fund balance. That means that we have more money on hand than we've budgeted to spend. That gives us a comfort, John. If something comes up, we don't have to borrow, or at least we shouldn't have to borrow. We have funds on hand. This is extremely good news, and everyone should be pleased that we have a clean audit, that there are no findings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Other members of the board? Madam Treasurer? Jamie, I'd just like to thank you, and I also like to thank Plant Moran. Appreciate all your work, and I'll have more to say about Ms. Shonda Cleaves later on in the meeting. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
With that, we will move on to 164.22, which is the citizens' comments on agenda items. This is the portion of the meeting reserved for persons who wish to address the board on items that are on tonight's agenda. I don't think we have one forum from anybody that wants to talk about an agenda item. Is anyone in the audience? Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda, 165.22. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move its adoption.
Second.
Moved by Weaver, second by Albrecht. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. May?
Yeah.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
President Cox?
And I vote yes.
7 yea.
Thank you. 166.22 is Board of Education Committee reports. Ms. May, I think someone just took away a lot of your thunder.
Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna report out on two, Finance Committee meetings. The first one will be October 26th. I do apologize, this is much of what, Mrs. Essenmacher just presented, so bear with me. The Finance Committee met on October 26th, and the meeting was convened at 4:30 p.m. Plant Moran auditors Jamie Essenmacher and Kevin Teratuta presented the results of the single audit along with the financial statement audit. Plant Moran tested the following federal programs: Head Start, ESSER, and CRF. They had no findings to report. They also tested the 2020 Building and Site Fund and Sinking Fund. Again, they had no findings to report. Both Jamie and Kevin will present the full audit report at the board meeting this evening. Dr. Dignan thanked Mrs. Essenmacher and Mr. Teratuta for their presentation, along with Mrs. Cleaves and Mrs. Markey for their hard work. Mr. Buckaloo and Ms. May thanked Plant Moran, Mrs. Essenmacher, Mr. Teratuta, Mrs. Cleaves, and Mrs. Markey again for their hard work and support. The meeting was adjourned at 5:02 p.m. The next Finance Committee meeting summary comes from our November 16th meeting that was convened at 4:30 p.m. Mrs. Amanda Dibus introduced the committee to a resource titled Care Solace. This resource is a program that streamlines accessing mental health support to our community, students, parents, and staff. Care Solace will provide the district with a dashboard that staff from our district will access and initiate a referral for the students. Care Solace then contacts the parent within an hour after receiving the referral. Once information is received from the parent, Care Solace will complete calls for the parents to set up the appointment. This program will be funded using ESSER funds. Mrs. Adrienne Nathan presented the Math 180 pilot agreement packet, which will be piloted with one teacher at Franklin Middle School. The pilot looks to serve 3 points. They are: 1, to jumpstart the evaluation of our interventions; 2nd, accelerate programming; and 3rd, provide relief from overcrowded classrooms. As a district, we are interested in engaging students and teachers in a structured, blended protocol or model based on data and student growth. The district is using Section 31A funds to initiate this pilot. Mr. Seth Wenzel presented a proposal to purchase new computers for nutrition services to support point-of-sale stands and replacement computers for both staff and board office workstations. ESSER and technology general funds will be used to support this purchase. Superintendent Dr. Dignan informed the committee that Consumers Energy will rent space at 1771 Henry Ruff for 13 and a half months. Mr. Tony Spizak shared 2 bid packets, 5 and 6. Both are coming before the board this evening. Mr. Underwood directed everyone's attention to the budget summaries and talked them through the amounts, funding sources, and stated that we have a positive budget variance in both bid packets. Mrs. Shanda Cleaves explained both the investment report and monthly check register. Dr. Dignan thanked everyone for joining the meeting and shared his excitement for the implementation of both Care Solace and Math 180. Both Mr. Buckaloo and Ms. May thanked everyone for their work. Mr. Buckaloo shared that he is pleased with how the bond projects are moving forward and how beneficial they are for our students and families. Ms. May echoed Mr. Buckaloo and also shared excitement for Care Solace and Math 180 to assist our students and our families. The meeting was adjourned at 5:05 p.m.
Thank you, Treasurer May. Next item on our agenda this evening is 167.22, review and approval of business, service, and finance items. Mrs. Cleaves?
Yes, I have a recommendation to purchase Dell desktops and laptops for school offices. I am requesting board approval to purchase 60 computers, 172 monitors, 34 Thunderbolt docks, and 94 sound bars to replace school administrative and secretarial systems. Pricing for these items is obtained by the RIMC consortium bids, and this includes shipping and 3 years of on-site warranty and support. If approved, the cost will not exceed $110,000, and these purchases will be charged to both the general fund technology budget and the ESSER funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht, support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Mrs. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
President, oh, not yet. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
And President Cox.
And I vote yes.
I am
Oh,
requesting,
I'm sorry.
I am requesting board approval to purchase a quantity of 63 computers, 13 Dell laptops, 89 monitors, and 63 sound bars. This will replace board office administrative and secretarial systems. Pricing for these items were also obtained by the RIMC consortium bids and include shipping and 3 years of on-site warranty and support. If approved, the cost will not exceed $70,000, and these purchases will be charged to the general fund technology budget and the ESSER funds.
Is there a motion on the Dyer offices purchase?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. May?
Yes.
President Cox.
Yes.
7 yea.
Have a recommendation regarding bid pack 5. This is addition and remodeling projects for Edison, Hamilton, and Schweitzer Elementary Schools. There was a public bid opening that was held on October 20, 2021. I am requesting board approval to award the contract to Hicks Construction Company in the amount of $612,900. This project will be charged to the bond fund and sinking fund.
Is there a motion?
So
Motion by
Support.
Ms. Hines, support by Mr. Albrecht. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Myself, yes. Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
President Cox.
And I vote yes.
7 yea.
Recommendation regarding bid pack number 6 is remodeling projects for Franklin Middle School, Stevenson Middle School, Hoover School, and Administration Building. This is based upon the results of a public bid opening held on November 4th, 2021. I am requesting board approval to award contracts. The total award recommendation amount is $13,603,820.20. This project will be charged to the bond fund, ESSER funds, and sinking fund.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, support?
Support.
By Treasurer May. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal?
Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes, and President Cox.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Mrs. Cleaves.
7 yea.
Next item on our agenda this evening is 168.22, which is the recommendation to approve the temporary site usage on Henry Ruff by Consumers Power to facilitate their infrastructure project in the area. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht, support? Support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal?
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
President Cox.
And I vote yes.
7 yea.
Next item on the agenda is 169.22, which is the agreement for purchase from Lombardo Homes. Mr. Dignan, do you have any comments you'd like to make on this, or?
No, it's been a long time coming, over a year and a half. Basically, just have some language legalese updated within the agreement.
Okay. Is there a motion on the Lombardo Homes purchase? Motion by Ms. Hines, support?
Support.
By Ms. May. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal?
Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
President Cox.
And I vote yes.
7 yea.
Let the record reflect that at this time, I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice President Dr. Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. President. The chair recognizes David Cox.
On 169.2, I'm sorry, 170.22, I would like to make a motion to approve the Executive Retention Continuity Plan. And if
Support.
there's support, I'd like to speak to it just a moment.
Support. Support.
All right.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, he made the motion.
He made the motion, support. Thank you.
Thank you. What we have tonight is a plan to end a problem that's gone on in this school district for many, many years. We have an opportunity to do something a little differently than it has been done in the past. Heretofore, what the school district has done is hired a superintendent, enjoyed the fruits of that superintendent's labor, and 3 or 4 or 5 years later, as so often happens with all Wayne Westland's employees, they're so good they come to the attention of other school districts who steal them away from us. And the problem with we like that because the school district is all about people doing better and promoting themselves, and that happens to our students, and it happens to our employees, and it even happens to our superintendent. But the problem in the superintendent game is that 5 or 6 or 7 years from now, a Board of Education that sits at that time might not have the resources that this Board of Education has. So what this Board of Education is doing is we're going to put money aside every single month for the next 15 years, a little bit of money, so that later on, 10 or 15 years from now, a Board of Education doesn't have to come up with a big chunk of money for superintendents. So the money's going to stay in our account. It's going to go into an agreement with Massachusetts Mutual, and I think this is a great move for the school district. And 20 years ago, I wish we had it, and that's all I have to say. About time.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Do we have a motion?
Further discussion from anyone else?
We need a
I made the motion, he supported,
Okay.
so
All
roll
right.
call
I'm
vote.
sorry. Yes. Any discussion?
Roll call vote.
Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
I have Mrs. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
and President Cox.
And I vote yes.
7 yea.
Can I have
And
my
I-
hammer back?
Surrender the chair.
Thank you. Does it still work? Yep. Next item on the agenda is 171.22, which is the MASB Board of Directors. Michigan Association of School Boards is looking for directors for their Board of Education. Is there a motion on any candidate that we might have
I-
on our board? Mr. Albrecht?
I would like to nominate for that position Melanie Hines, because a little person told me she was interested in the role.
Thank you.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Is there discussion? Not from you, Melanie. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Discussion? Discussion?
Yeah, for
Discussion?
Go ahead.
Yes, I think this is a wonderful idea. A year ago, Mrs. Walker served in that position, and it's kind of good. There are only about, I think, a dozen representatives to this committee across the state. We were privileged to have one of those directors a year or so ago. To have that representation again, together with the role that Mrs. May is filling for us on the Legislative Committee, means that we have an especially strong voice in the MASB and in the state legislature, as MASB is an active lobbying partner. So I wholeheartedly support your candidacy for this position.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
I'd also like to say that your dedication to MASB, the classes, we benefit greatly because of Melanie. Thank you for all your efforts. I know it's not easy. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Yes, Dr. Weaver.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Albrecht.
Yes.
Ms. Hines.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Mrs. May.
Yes.
President Cox.
I vote yes. Congratulations, Melanie.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is 172.22, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Dignan.
Thanks, President Cox. I just want to thank our students that kind of drove the meeting at the beginning. I know it's nervous with a big audience, and as Mr. Cox talked about, takes a lot of courage. And again, it's nice to hear what's going on in our schools. I also want to introduce Mr. Chuck Sorrentino, who's in the crowd. A couple weeks ago was named as one of the assistant principals at John Glenn High School. So welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here. The other thing is in December, we just had a scholarship that came down from Lawrence Tech. We're getting $50 a year. That's about $85,000 value to our students. We're going to have a bigger one that's going to come down in December with partnership from Eastern Michigan. And again, about 85% of our kids are going to qualify basically for free tuition there. So we're working on the mechanics of that. It's a local school. I'm actually from Ypsilanti. My whole family went to Eastern Michigan, so it's a great school. So I'm pretty excited about that announcement in the coming weeks. I want to thank our HR department for really targeting some of the staff shortages that we're facing. They've gotten innovative with our communication department over the last few weeks and have really done a phenomenal job of targeting people for some of our open positions. I also want to thank Mike Schulte and Jenny Johnson for the setup of our elementary basketball league. We have a girls basketball league going on right now. To see all our elementary kids participate, in some cases the first time they've ever been involved in organized sports, and just feeling the energy is incredible. I want to thank Blessings in a Backpack. We received a $3,000 donation from the Meadowbrook Country Club, Eagles for Children. What Blessings in a Backpack does is $110 feeds kids that are food insecure on the weekends and during breaks. So we've launched it at one of our elementary schools, Hicks Elementary, where we are targeting to start off with 50 kids. Our post-secondary students are the ones that package the backpacks and meals for our kids. So again, it's a joint effort. We just secured with Cranbrook Science Institute free passes for all of our families. They're going to be assigned at all of our elementary and middle schools. We're looking next to do Henry Ford, Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, so our families don't have to pay the cost and can do things that are fun on the weekend with their children. Just a couple quick awards. The Wayne Memorial Choir is going to present in front of the Wayne Risa Board of Education Wednesday, December 15th. So again, that's a great honor for our choir. We actually had 3 Wayne Memorial band students yesterday that were picked out of the Play with the Eastern Michigan Honors Band. Diana Fuller with the flute, Jaden Rush with the clarinet, and then Aaron McKay, percussion, and he actually played in the first chair. So we're proud of our kids' accomplishments. We hope everybody has a great and wonderful and relaxing Thanksgiving. This has been a long run from the start of school till now, so we're hoping that people get a chance to enjoy their families and friends during this time. And at that note, I'll end it there.
Thank you, sir. If you'll permit me to clarify, the Lawrence Tech $85,000 scholarship. So not 185,000, 50 of them. So,
Yeah, thank you.
and just so everyone knows, this is why we got that. So, thank you, Dr. Dignan.
Yep.
Next item on our agenda is citizens' comments. This is the portion of the agenda reserved for people who would like to address the board on non-agenda items. Mr. Neal?
Okay. First, we have Andrew Buck, who'd like to speak on the football program.
Mr. Buck?
Good evening. Thanks for the time here. I hear stuff about audits earlier, that you're auditing money. Well, we did a fundraiser this year. We raised over $21,000. We would like an audit of what's going on. We do not know, as parents, players, kids, we don't know where the money went. We got a banquet and that's it. Our parents have cooked every meal for these kids. They've decorated the stadium with no funding whatsoever from the football program. Before we had boosters, we don't have them anymore. The John Glenn football coach, Calvin Griggs, has cut out the boosters, so there is no, this was our yearly funding, and we see nothing, okay? The communication from the football head coach is zero. According to schedules, as in game schedules, it's done through Facebook, through different parents. We know nothing. My son's in the wrestling program, and we had our first meeting with all the parents last week, and we were given a full schedule. Boom, here it is, black and white. We know everything. Wrestling program's great, football program is not. Lack of communication. We've tried to, I personally have tried to talk to the principal about these issues, concerns, questions, no avail. Head AD, no avail, nothing. I see we got a new vice principal. Hopefully we can talk to you and try to get some of these things worked out. But something needs to get done. The seniors, there was nothing done for the seniors, as in college recruiting. Usually there's 6 to 10 colleges per year want to come to the field and look at our guys and ladies to try to recruit for colleges. We had 0 this year, and that's a fact. We've had to go out and do it by ourselves. The football program is absolutely, completely horrible, and it's our kids who are suffering. It's just a bunch of broken promises. It's time after time after time. I recently questioned Calvin. We had a banquet, which I believe some of the money from the fundraiser was spent on the banquet. We don't know. I asked him the day after, where did all the money go? I mean, this was supposed to, we raised this money to spend on our kids, not to spend on future programs, equipment, whatever. And the fundraiser was done in, I believe, August. We have yet to see any money. We don't know. We got a banquet, and it was told a week and a half beforehand.
Mr.
And
Buck, 3 minutes is up. You
Thank
can
you.
close if you have another.
Well,
last thing.
it's just, it's broken promises time after time after time. This needs to be changed. We don't know where else to go.
Our kids are suffering.
We have 15, 20, 25 people here today. We don't know where to go. We're coming to you for help. We're asking for help. Hopefully you guys can give us help. I
We will
appreciate
give
your
you,
time.
we will give you help. We know the administration is working on some of the items that you've talked about, but the board will get you an accounting on monies.
Please,
Yes, we
please.
will.
We know nothing.
Well,
As parents, we deserve.
we don't
something.
either right now, but we will find out and we'll get the
Yes, please,
information.
and I realize I'm slapping this on you guys, but please.
No, that's why we're here. We're happy to do it,
Please.
Mr. Buck. Thanks for
You
bringing
know,
it to our attention.
I'm not the only one here, I'm not a disgruntled parent, I'm a coach. You know, I served along with this guy, and it's just one after another of broken promises. And
I
it's gotta
gotcha.
stop.
I got you.
Thank you, I appreciate your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Nicole Shipley, again on the football program and the athletic department.
Hi, everybody. My name's Nicole Shipley. I have 6 students that have been to John Glenn. I have 4 boys. My last 2 boys are in the football program now. I have never seen our football program be such a disgrace and have our kids so disappointed. At every away game that they go to, it's, look what they have. Why can't we do something like that? Why isn't the news at our school for our homecoming? They're let down time and time again. We have had meetings with Coach Griggs. We are either told to figure it out ourselves amongst us parents, or we get no answers at all. So we have to take a step back and make sure that our players are taken care of. Study hall, at the beginning of the school season, nobody was doing anything for food for these boys. They're at school from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Practice doesn't start until 4. Nobody's feeding these kids. I took it upon myself to make 150 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day to make sure these kids were fed.
Wow.
Coach Griggs, I don't know what to tell you. Figure it out. After we had the money that he could have just went and filled out the paperwork to give us a little bit of help. We all know our district isn't a rich district. In Calvin's eyes, he thinks every parent should be giving all of the money they can to our football program. That's why we do fundraisers. That's why we do bottle drives. That's why we used to do this stuff when Coach Waller and Coach Harden were there. There was a reason the fundraisers were there, was to support these kids. The colleges try and get a hold of him for the 19 seniors that deserved colleges to come and look at them. He never answered the phone, never answered emails, never contacted any of these colleges. It was left up to us as parents to try and get our kids to the next level. As a head coach of a football program, I have never been more disappointed in a program than I am right now. It's disgusting the way he talks to us parents, or the way he thinks he can talk to us parents, when we try and question him on money or banquet homecoming gifts, anything. Our players got nothing at banquet but a piece of paper. Our 19 seniors deserved at least a sweatshirt. They got nothing. Nothing. We're just asking for a little bit of help. There's no athletic director for us to talk to over there. When we ask to speak to the athletic director and Coach Griggs, we're told you have to wait until a permanent athletic director is in place. Why? If there's an interim AD, why can't we talk to them with that coach? It doesn't make any sense to any of us. And there's a lot of players here right now because they care and they want to see a change. I only have 2 years left in the district, but I know there is a lot of people that are so disappointed they're ready to walk away from our district because the football program is just crumbling in front of our eyes.
Ms. Shipley, your 3 minutes is up.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Charlie Johnston is next, again, the football program and security of students.
Good evening. I have a freshman at John Glenn. I'm going to kind of piggyback on Mrs. Shipley here. Coach Griggs, got to go. Plain and simple. Where's the money? The disrespect to us parents. You hit the nail on the head with the schedule. Asking my son Where's the game?
Yeah.
What time's the game? The day before. Don't even know. My wife and I both work. I'm out of the house by 5 a.m. She's out by 6. We're hardworking parents. We deserve an answer. So I'm sure there's more parents who are going to hit on this football. I'm going to hit on something else. First day of school, there's a fight. Just the other day, my son comes home and says there's 7 fights in school.
Yeah.
Some kid brought a gun to school. Something's got to be done. I'm ready to pull my kid out. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not even his biological dad. I'm ready to pull him out, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple other parents in this room that are ready to do the same. I got 3 more years at this school district, and just the other night, I asked my son, you want to go somewhere else? He said, yeah.
Yep.
And to you varsity players, you guys put up with a lot of crap.
It's over.
And we can't apologize enough to you varsity players.
We got nothing left.
This is ridiculous. It's gone on long enough. The first coaches meeting he had with us, I don't care about winning. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. Well, freshmen didn't win a single game all year. They're getting blown out 50-0. My son didn't even want to play. He didn't want to finish the season. It's pathetic. There's no discipline out there on the field.
None.
He gets away with whatever he wants. Going back to, I know I got off topic, going back to the security, you have a policeman in the school, if I'm not mistaken, the resource officer, thank you. Where's he? You got fights going on. I've seen videos of it. He's now nowhere to be found. You know, this is ridiculous. When is it going to come? One of our kids is going to get seriously hurt. Going to get taken out in an ambulance. And I've worked fire and EMS before. I now work for a major construction company on safety. Oh yeah, this is a big issue with me. So if anyone else has got anything, feel free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Damon Powers, concerned about how they're being treated as athletes, also comments about the weight room.
All right, so I'm just going off the dome with this. One thing about the football program is like no water, no food after practice. We get like 3 water breaks of practice, no college exposure. Like what all the other parents said, we raise money. Don't know where it's going. It's kids that want to transfer. Like I was planning on transferring, like what my man that was just up here said, you know. Threats on kids that want to transfer, saying that he won't play them next year. Like he'll make sure they don't play. Stats are inaccurate.
So if you do transfer, he's gonna do everything he can to, when you at the new school, to make you not play. Is what he's saying. He's threatening.
And there's also old helmets, like helmets from 2014. That's like you can't use them.
Not adequate equipment.
Let's let the speaker do the speaking.
I also like to say, and JV film. There's no JV film. You know our JV work hard. Everybody deserves film. And you know that's pretty much all I have to say. But like all the other parents said, disrespect from Coach Griggs. He gives pretty speeches and stuff, but like does nothing for us. And rusty weight room, which is like health issues and stuff. You know, that's pretty much all I got to say. All the other parents covered everything.
Thank you.
Next, I have Jessica Gable, and all I have here says mandate.
I'm sure you all remember who I am from last time. I'm Jessica Goebel. I have 2 kids in the district. There's not a whole lot I can say that I haven't already. It's already been made clear that common sense and real science have gone out the window, and the most important thing is funding and money, so let's address that. I believe it was said that you would lose funding if you didn't follow the health department mandates. That is absolutely untrue. Many senators and representatives have made it very clear that that is completely false. We were also told that you could be sued if someone gets COVID and there's not a mask mandate. That is also false. I have been speaking with lawyers and they said that is ridiculous. No court could ever hold a school liable for a child getting sick. There's no way it could ever be proven that a child got any kind of illness from the school unless the child lived there 24/7 and never went anywhere else. That's an excuse and your legal counsel knows it. Let's put the shoe on the other foot though. What if my kid gets a mask injury from long-term mask use? School's the only place my kids wear a mask, so can't I sue then? What about the long-term psychological, mental, emotional effects these kids may potentially suffer from? I know I've said this before, but what is the end game here? We know COVID, like the flu, will be here forever. As far as I can tell, you're going to have our kids masked up indefinitely, or it's going to be when they're vaccinated, because more kids will die from this so-called vaccine or have long-term health effects than COVID. This was proven in clinical trials where 1 in 1,000 kids died, as opposed to COVID, where 1 out of every 174,308 children with COVID die, and most of them have underlying health conditions. But hey, let's continue to hold vaccine clinics and promote this nonsense. The last thing I wanted to say is the main reason you're having a hard time finding bus drivers, substitute teachers, etc., is mostly because of these mandates. Nobody wants to wear a mask all day, and I know this firsthand after talking to someone who used to substitute in the district. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next, Lester, Mexico, on the mask mandates.
When's my 3 minutes start?
Right now.
Just did.
All right, thank you. You know, you guys are just sitting here wasting our time, so let me know when my 3 minutes are up. I'd like to apologize to all you guys for this, but this is what's got to be done.
One down, 2 to go.
Thank you.
Are you getting all of this? Are you getting all of this done?
Two minutes, 1 to go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 minutes.
Thank you. Let's go, Brandon.
Next. Dina, I'm not sure the last name. Is it Israel? Ismail, okay. And it's concerns over how her daughter is being treated at school.
Hi, I'm speaking on behalf of Dina Ismail, a mother of 4 daughters and a resident of Westland. She has 3 daughters in your school district. I am speaking on her behalf because she is traumatized, humiliated, and appalled at the actions your school district has taken against her 2 daughters, including a lack of addressing verbal harassment by text, in which her daughter was called, and I quote, a terrorist, threats of assault and verbal harassment of her daughter, and physical and sexual assault of her other daughter. I will read you verbatim the messages her daughter has received. 9/11 looking expletive. Listen here, you terrorist. Don't you have a plane to go fly? Go crash into some buildings and leave me alone. She was also sent a video with the words, you terrorist. She received text requesting a fight by the gym door within the physical location of the school. Again, I quote verbatim, I'll really beat you, expletive. Dina was told during remediation that a police officer would be present at the meeting and she could file a police report. This was not true. She was also not told an investigation was being conducted, as is the requirement of your school district's anti-discrimination policy when an incident like this is required to be reported to support services. In a separate incident with her other daughter, while she was working on a school assignment, wearing sweatpants and standing over another student for help, a student, a young man, came up behind her and pulled down her pants to her ankles. Let me be clear. He did not snap her bra. He did not touch her bottom. He pulled down her pants so that she was standing in her underwear. In response, she hit him with her shoe to protect and defend herself. In response, in retaliation, your school suspended her and the boy. However, her daughter was suspended for a longer time period than this boy for defending herself. Let me be clear. Questioning the experience of assault survivors and retaliating against them by giving the person who assaulted her a lesser punishment is not only negligent and poor policy, it is morally unjust and quite honestly malicious. If you think these things will resolve on their own, let me remind you, Dina was called by the principal last week when another young man took off his mask and spit in her daughter's face. To review, your district has poorly addressed verbal harassment and physical and sexual assault within the physical school building. Against your district policy, you have not told Dina a report or investigation was opened or completed by support services for the previous incidents. Dina would like to hear how you will be addressing these incidents in the future and what policies will be implemented, because clearly the school and the district are failing to provide her daughters with a safe environment for learning. I'd love to clarify anything if you have questions.
No questions, thank you.
Can you respond to Dina?
No, we're not going to respond now. This is not the place to respond, especially the seriousness that you've just explained to this board. Having no information other than the words you've just spoken, there's nothing that we can say to you at this time, but that this is not the end of it.
Okay. Well, it says, I believe with the comments, that she'll get a response from the school. Can she expect
Yes, from the school, but not from the board,
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
certainly.
And next we have Katie Decker. Question about something that was shown apparently in a classroom on a projection screen.
Yeah, I just have an issue. So the last week in school, my son sent me a picture of something that was posted, that the teacher had posted on the projection. I have a picture of it. And I'm just not really sure. I guess I'm kind of questioning the curriculum and what's like okay to be taught in a classroom. Apparently it was English class and it was something about cursive. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I have a picture of it, and it says on the projection screen, it says, "Drop that ass and shake it." I want to know if that's like school appropriate for a teacher to post. That was all I wanted to address. That was it. Thank you.
That's the end of the comments. There was just one written one we were given, but.
No, no. Thank you. Phone numbers there. Thank you, everyone. In just a moment, the Board of Education will have some comments. We're now on 174.22, review and recommendations of the members of the Board of Education. Mr. Buckaloo.
Thank you, President Cox. Well, we'll start with thanks to Carrie and to Kylie for getting us off with the pledge this evening. Also to Principal Pringle for bringing them by. It's always good to get off to that kind of start. When we were distance learning, that was one of the things that I miss personally. I'd like to thank the students from our various high schools that came and brought us an update today on the various programs, DECA, the community high school, the good things that are going on over at Wayne High, and of course the culinary arts. Even though they didn't speak, I can tell you that we were able to sample the good work that they're doing. Plant Moran came in today and gave us a clean audit, and I appreciate that. I was going to say some things tonight in thanks to Mrs. Cleaves and to her department, but I think what I'll do is I'll wait and echo the things that President Cox has to say later. Apparently you're going to say some of those things. We've approved a contract with Lombardo Homes. We're going to start building some homes in the city of Westland on two separate sites, the former locations of Madison and Kettering elementaries. And that's a good thing. Dr. Dignan said that this has been like a year and a half in the works, getting all of the things ironed out. In truth, we've been talking about this for close to 10 years now, long before those sites were cleared. So this is something that is going to be beneficial to the city of Westland because it's going to increase their tax base. It's going to be beneficial to the people who are going to occupy those new homes. And it's certainly going to be potentially good for us here in Wayne Westland because the potential is that we'll have additional students moving into our district. That is always a good thing. We have amended the contract for Dr. Dignan. That's obviously a good thing for him, but it's a win-win like the Lombardo deal. It's a good thing for Wayne Westland. I've heard some things tonight from parent groups that trouble me a great deal, and they need to be looked into, and they need to have a serious look. They're flat out shocking. On the other hand, I can't say enough about the good things that Dr. Dignan has done for our district in terms of getting scholarships available to our students, his support for things like flag football. He's just doing a wealth of good for the district. That does not in any way excuse some of the things that have been talked about tonight. And rest assured that this board is going to follow up on that. Thursday's Thanksgiving, in case you haven't heard. So if you're going to travel, if you're going to share a meal with family, I hope that you're safe on the road, and I hope that you're safe around the dinner table. If you'll permit me a bit of a personal note, 4 members of my family contracted, my extended family contracted COVID in the last month. 3 had mild cases, 1 was hospitalized, my sister-in-law. Fortunately, all are either recovered or on the way to recovery, and I'm happy for that. I got a call this afternoon that a former colleague of mine at John Glenn High School, Dr. Darrell Mullinex, former science teacher, department chair, has passed away. Dr. Mullinex was one of the good people, and I count him as a former neighbor, and as a friend, and he'll be missed. Also had a friend, a former colleague, going to the hospital for minor surgery. Should be outpatient as it was. He was in for 5 full days. And one of Mrs. Watson's favorite teachers over at John Glenn had a heart attack earlier. These are not good things. And yet, I look around and I see that our students are still in the classroom. We're almost halfway through the year. We haven't had to close down. We haven't had a large number of serious COVID cases among our student body. And for that, I'm thankful. In fact, if we took the year on balance with all of the negative things that I've talked about and balance that against the fact that all of our kids are still in the classroom, I'm very thankful for the year that we're having. 2021 is a very, very good year, and I'm very happy for that. I'm thankful, too, for the privilege of serving on this board and for the privilege of serving with the trustees that I am serving with. That I get to work with the administration for the school district. I couldn't be more happy with the wonderful things that are being afforded to me through this association. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Ms. May?
Okay. I thought we had a conversation about me going behind Mr. Buckaloo. So first of all, I'd just like to say good evening to everyone. And I'm going to start by saying it was wonderful to hear from our students. Each student spoke with such enthusiasm and joy for their schools and about their schools and their experiences each day. And I want to make sure that I want to end my evening with that positivity because the kids were so excited and so happy. With that being said, I want to also thank each and every parent that is here this evening advocating for your child. As a parent, I understand what it's like to see your child in certain circumstances and you feel as though your hands are tied. So thank you for being here this evening and speaking up. The other piece I'd like to do is just take a moment I can't follow Mr. Buckaloo, so I'm just going to say happy Thanksgiving. I don't have all the words that he has. Again, it's an awesome opportunity to serve on this board. It is an awesome opportunity to serve our students and our families. And so with that, I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. May. And keep in mind, Mr. Buckaloo has had many more years to decide what he was going to say.
I mean, but it's just so hard. Pressure.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Lombardo Homes is going to be excellent for our school district. I have to confess to being a little aggravated at thinking about the Madison School now gone and houses being built there because my daughter and my son went through that school and those roots run deep. Also, the executive continuity plan, I'm 100% behind it, looking for ways to keep our family together is very important. Every time we have a superintendent change, we move in different directions. And that's not to say anything bad about any superintendent, but the longer a superintendent is here, the more work can be done, and so I am thankful for that. I'm not used to sitting here hearing such statements about a member of our staff. I've heard the parents tonight. There's no rush to judgment on my part when I say this, but our district is not used to substandard behavior. And I'm just very concerned about that. In trying to keep up with Mr. Buckaloo, who always ruins it for the rest of our board members when he gets to go first, I thought of something he didn't tonight, and that is that 58 years ago today, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. He gave this country, at his time, I think, a rebirth when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." I'm old enough to remember the incident. Some of you in this room may be. Some of you are wondering what I'm talking about. But it was certainly a terrible time in this country. And also, what's been said twice already, I'll say again, happy Thanksgiving. Be safe if you're traveling.
Thank you, Dr. Weir. Mr. Albright?
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Normally I have prepared comments and I try to be brief. I'm not going to be this time. But first of all, I want to thank Carrie and Kylie Moon for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. A little, I guess, down when Mom said I was her teacher once. I guess I'm not as young as I thought I was. Shout out to our three high school groups. They're outstanding kids. It's nice to hear what's going on at the school. They represented their classmates well. Thank you, Ms. Cleaves, again, for an amazing audit. You know, I've been involved in them for 20-some years. They've all been good. I know what goes into that and how much work it takes. So congratulations for that. I'm sure a lot of people don't understand. This last fall, we got $589 per student foundation increase. That's almost $6 million, and that kind of made us right. It made us look really good right now. Won't take long for us to use that, I'm sure. Now to talk about, all 5 of my children graduated from John Glenn. They all played athletics. I taught there and I coached there. I know what it can be like. So for your experience, young men and young women that have been, I apologize. I don't know what the actual truth is because I haven't been involved before tonight. But clearly we have some work to do through our administrative team to get you resolution and to find out what's going on with that program. As far as other parents, and I will always advocate for your right to speak, for your right to support your children. I did mine. When they were in school, I advocated for them. I will always do that. And whether anybody else thinks it's serious or not, silence was deafening. And I appreciate it. Okay? I do. As far as Miss Ismail and her daughter is concerned, if there's even the slightest bit of truth in that, that's horrible. It is ridiculous, and it shouldn't happen in any of our schools ever. I don't care what walk of life you come from. When I was a little boy, I was one of those children. So I understand it, and it should never, ever happen. Mr. Dignan, I want to thank you for everything that you've done so far. Obviously, you got a little bit of work to do tomorrow. You don't have a lot of time before Thanksgiving. But I know you will, and you deserve what we did tonight. And I'll thank you in advance for the work you're going to do in meeting the needs of our children and their families. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Albrecht. Ms. Hines?
Yes, I'd like to thank the children who did the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, and I'd like to also thank the board for recognizing me as a prospect for the Board of Directors for the Michigan Association of School Boards. I was excited to go with some colleagues, Mr. Buckaloo and Dr. Weaver, over to Grand Rapids. We had a Michigan Association of School Boards Leadership Conference. There I took several classes. I learned so much. One of my classes that I really enjoyed was very important when it comes to current trends in K-12 technology, and it's talking about what's going on right now with different types of education when you have some virtual, some classrooms, and how to make it more up-to-date and current to our practices that we're going through right now. Because even my vision, if we could ever do it, and I know it's kind of difficult, if we could have like real time, like the ones that want to be in the classroom, be in the classroom, the ones that can be at home, they can't make it. But I know with technology could be an issue because, you know, that can help both people, you know, especially when we have those snow days and things that come up, you know, like real time. But I was talking to some people at the conference, they were saying it's difficult for the teachers because they can't just stand in front of the camera. So I kind of get it. I had another class, collaborative conversations with decision makers. It's talked about, you know, making really good executive decisions. We talked about another class about school board turnover. Luckily, we don't have turnover here. We're blessed to have a steady, strong board. We even had another one with leadership, a case study approach. And our previous board member, Ms. Medell, she was actually one of my professors in the class. So it was very awesome that weekend. My goal was to I met a lot of different board members from different school districts. I really wanted to meet new people, you know, so I spent a lot of time just learning about different districts, what type of strategies, what are they doing during COVID, you know, different technology. We had some vendors with different things that we could use for our school, especially when it comes to virtual technology. And I also learned that the Michigan virtual classes, they offer 35 AP classes that we can still offer, like all the school districts, but a lot of people don't know about these extra programs. So now your kids can take these AP classes that other districts might not offer. So I learned some new things about that. On a personal tip with the parents, as I'm a parent, and I totally understand what it's like when kids are bullied. Being a former like cheerleader, alumni of Wayne Memorial and marching band, I know how important it is your senior year to get those scholarships. And my heart is out to you guys because you guys had it the worst. Like, you know, with the COVID, you didn't have homecoming, and then your senior year and not getting scholarships. I'm telling you, that to me, it made me want to cry, I'll be honest, because it's really hard. And like Mr. Albrecht, you know, the kids are important. And we have to make sure we protect our kids. And even with the bullying, guys, we gotta love each other. And because I put my son out in John Glenn, and he's over at the Wayne Westland Community High School. I'm sorry, but that school is so amazing. My son learned about social emotional learning. Like his grades are so much better, and maybe like we should work on doing more social emotional like learning in the other schools because it seems like there's some type of behavior issue. And I understand like the trauma with COVID. You know, I've talked to a few friends, you know, during this pandemic, a lot of people have been addicted to drugs and alcohol because a lot of people were sitting at home, you know, and I've known people whose kids have really suffered because of that. And sometimes school is their only outlet. So I'm just being passionate because like, as a parent, yeah, because I understand, and it's hard. And it was the hardest thing to put my son out of John Glenn, I'll be honest. But, you know, it's working good for him. But, you know, you guys can always reach out to me as a board member. I'm sorry I'm crying, but it just hurts my heart to see that my kids are suffering in this district. So, it really hurt me to hear that today. So, sorry, but I just want us all to get along. We are Wayne Westland. We are one district. We are the best. You know, we can't have bullying. That's unacceptable. We can't treat our kids like that. We shouldn't have crazy things on the board, you know, in the classrooms and all that. But I'm just sorry. When I heard the kids, it just made me so sad because you guys lost a lot. So I'm sorry.
Is that it, Mel? Thank you, Mel. Secretary Neal?
take me a second. Well, as you can tell, there's a lot of emotion in hearing about children who can't defend themselves being picked on. And I feel for Ms. Ishmael, and hopefully we can address this situation. It angers me, and it probably does everybody, but see, no, you got me. Emotion, I don't mean to be this way either, but it makes me so angry. But that'll be addressed. Dr. Dignan will take care of this issue the best that he possibly can. These things should not happen in school. If there are children who are being focused on, that should be addressed. It's just not right. I don't know why people in general, children especially, because sometimes they don't know as much as we do as adults, you know, why they focus on one another and pick on one another. You know, I've seen it all my life. You have too in school. You know, we may have been targets ourselves, but it's so hard to hear it when you hear people express it. I hope it goes away. On another topic, the football program. Dr. Dignan is a football player. I guarantee you he heard everything you had to say and has taken it to heart and will address that situation as well. And I'm sure you'll hear from him soon. And Mr. Mexico, I liked what you did. I thought that was very good, and I enjoyed it. As was already mentioned, I think